Yeah. Yes, Sharda, you begin.
Uh, from verse 31 onwards, up to third verse 30, the Lord was explaining the nature of the Atma and trying to explain to Arjuna how the Atma is basically unborn, it does not die, it is eternal. And therefore, when he fights, he is not really killing anybody. It is what has to go will go. What dies is only the body, and every body that is born has to die. So basically, he is into that kind of discussion. From verse 31, he comes to another argument. He says, if you look at this from the standpoint of what is your own duty, which is your swadharmam, even there you should not waver from it because it is your duty. And vikam pittu marhasi means don't waver from your duty, because there is nothing greater for a kshatriya than to fight a battle in the cause of dharma. So if you shift from this, there's a shift in this verse from the absolute understanding to a more relative standpoint, where you are talking about what is to be done, what is right and what is wrong. And therefore, as a natural outcome, also to the fact that in chapter 1, Arjuna had spoken about the fact that dharma, and that if he did fight this battle, there would be destruction, there would be varna sankara, there would be confusion in society. So he had brought out a whole lot of issues that would create a confusion, and that would be a sin. And therefore he says it would not be in the in dharma. And his family duty was such, and so people who everyone will go to hell, and he will also not have, even if he wins the battle, he's not going to really gain anything. So as a outcome to that comment of Arjuna's, as well as to bring Arjuna to another standpoint on this argument, Krishna brings in the idea of what is your duty. So avekshya means to see it from the point of view of your own dharma, what you must do by yourself. Because Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, is not eligible to show this kind of hesitation. He is not only a Kshatriya, he's also a crown prince. He is supposed to be a leader, a ruler. His duty is to fight for dharma, to uphold law and order, to administer, protect his kingdom. So he has several duties that he must pay attention to. This dharma yuddha is the Mahabharata, as the yuddha is being fought to restore dharma. And Krishna says that also adds that all the weapons and several other blessings that Arjuna has got from various people, all that will go to waste because of the stature and the skill that Arjuna has. If he doesn't utilize it in this kind of a battle, that is a God sent opportunity for him to demonstrate his weapons and his prowess, and also to fight for dharma. Uh, there's nothing more appropriate for Arjuna with his stature and with his reputation than to fight this battle. This is verse 31. And this same argument continues over the next few verses also. So verse 32 also you want me to say so, Swamiji, or should?
Anybody else wants to add on to something
Yeah,
on this?
this is verse 31.
31. Actually, yeah, 32 is also together in this. Yadrichaya chopapannam sargadwaram apavratam. Sukhinaha kshatriya parthe labante yuddham idrisham. Sukhinaha kshatriya means the one who are lucky kshatriyas. Lucky. Sukhinaha means lucky in the sense of happy. It
Those
means,
who
does
get a
not mean
chance.
happy. Idrisham yuddham labante. A battle which is like this from the standpoint of dharma. That is, nobody is happy to fight a war. So that those points all you will tell, then I will. If anybody leaves anything, then I'll say.
What he says is Yadricha means exactly by chance. This, you are very lucky that you have got hold of this kind of a battle
Yes.
come your way.
Yadrichaya.
Virtually like the gates of heaven are beckoning you and are like the karma phala, which is promised by our scriptures. It's almost like that, because this battle is offering you that kind of a opportunity. Uh, the Kshatriyas on the other side, who are in Duryodhana's side, why this is brought up is because it is not just the fact that it's a Kshatriya's battle, because Swamiji says further that the Kshatriyas in Duryodhana's army were also fighting, but they were not fighting on the path of dharma. They were doing something for out of loyalty, but to Duryodhana, but it was not totally dharmya to do what they were doing. So what Krishna is telling Arjuna is, you are lucky, you have this wonderful battle, you have a chance to display your prowess, you also have an opportunity to fight for dharma, and an opportunity to, even if you lose, to go to heaven. So adrishta phala and drishta phala, both dharma shastra deals with both immediate result and the kind of an invisible result which
So
comes.
who will explain Adrishta and Drishta Phala? What is Adrishta Phala? What is Drishta Phala?
So this is what Swamiji, he links further in 37th shlok, that hato va prapsyasi swargam and jitva va bhokshasi mahim. So in either way,
Yes.
you are to benefit from this.
Yeah, you have to benefit. But I am asking,
Swamiji,
what
Drishta
do you mean
phala,
by
Drishta
Drishta
phala in
Phala
this
and
case
Adrishta
would be
Phala?
the Drishta phala in this case would be winning the war, because he's fighting a war. But even without any wish on his part, any direct desire on his part, the Adrishta phala, the indirect benefit that will come to him will be that he will go to heaven. That is the Adrishta phala.
Adrishta.
Swamiji, Drishta phala are ones which you get in the short term, in this life only. Which you get in this life only. The phalam, the fruits of action that you get in this life only. And Drishta phalas are one which are not perceived or seen, but you may see it in the next life, or as a punya, as you get heaven. That's a Drishta
I
phala.
will say Drishta Phala means immediate result. Like, we give an example, if you feed a hungry person, then his hunger is satiated, is Drishta Phala. That you feed a hungry person is a punya, which is the Adrishta Phala. And that punya can be accrued anytime in any lifetime, even in this or hereafter. So Drishta is immediate result. Adrishta is that is Papa Punya, in terms of Papa Punya. So Punya is accrued in your name, and that is what is Punyas, because of which grace comes. Okay. Then what else?
Normally, Adrishta phala comes only when you do something.
Only?
When you do something, when you perform an action. Adrishta phala can come, Adrishta phala. Drishta phala can also be because you refuse to take action.
Yeah. Just a minute, hold on. Some people are there outside. So, yes, yeah. So I am in Tiruvannamalai. So my neighbors, right? This is a staircase next to my door. Yeah, what were you saying, Asharada?
Adrishta phala can only come if you take some action. Drishta phala can also happen by not taking an action. But Adrishta phala is only because if you don't take a certain action, you will end up doing something else which can have another Adrishta phala. So Adrishta phala is always linked to something you do.
So Papa Punya karma is only when something is done in terms of good or bad. That is what it is. But Drishtapala can come anytime. Suppose Swamiji gives an example, no? Entropy. If you don't do anything, the point is if you run away from the battle. So if you don't take bath, what will happen? People will run away from you. No? And if you don't clean up your room, that will be in a mess. So every 2 days, 3 days, so if you don't do anything, what will happen? That is what says. It does not mean that if you don't do anything, result will not come. Result will be there.
Swamiji, in the example that you have given, that if you feed a hungry man, the man feels satiated, and you feel happy for what you have done. That is a Drishtaphala. And the punya that you get by feeding that man, that the fruit of which you will get in the next life or the next to next life, that is a Drishtaphala. So for same action, you can have Drishtaphala and Adrishtaphala also.
Yeah, same action only. Adrishtaphala can, what I was trying to say, it's not only next life. Punya, when it fructifies, when it gives result, that is not said. Later sometime.
Later sometime.
Punya, yeah. Okay.
So sir, as you said, immediate and later, the two
Yes.
distinctions.
So Drishtaphala is immediate result. What happens at that point of time.
Ji.
Adrishta is in terms of Papa Punya. Here, later in this life or hereafter.
We can
Adrishta,
say Drishtaphala is like currency and Adrishtaphala is like traveler's check. No? Drishtaphala is currency and Adrishtaphala is the traveler's check.
Investment.
not even traveler's check. It will be like
Investment.
some bonus. If bonus shares are allotted by chance
Hmm.
to you, that will become, because the traveler's check also you will incur money, na, shuru mein hi.
Hmm.
But in the south, at least in Kannada and Tamil, when we use the word adrishta, we say it as an unexpected, good luck. Something good happens which is not expected. So I think it is also linked to this adrishta phala, because it is something which you worked and did something, but you didn't expect that this would also come. It's like when you feed somebody and tomorrow that person turns out to be a rich man and he comes back and leaves his big house to you or something. That would be an adrishta phala. You would not have fed him with that intention, but something unexpected because of good karma or because of some good fortune comes and falls into your lap without your expecting it, but because of something you did earlier.
Isn't Drisht and Adrisht be something what is visible and what is not clearly visible?
Only that.
Same thing.
No.
I'm asking, wouldn't it be that?
No, adrishta will also be visible at some point.
Right now it is not visible. That's why it is right now.
Yeah, because it's not visible.
Yeah, the link.
The literal meaning is that
Currently visible and currently not visible.
That's what Swami is saying. Immediate and later. Later it will be visible. We can't visualize it right now.
So right now it is not visible, but something has accrued.
Right. And since talking about visibility or something being visible is not that easy, so we talk in terms of expectations. So that explains what Sharda was coming from in the southern culture. That we have linked adrish to unexpected.
I remember my son once asking me, school mein tha, I was in Lucknow when he calls me up and raat ko, he says, Mama, why do we have to help people? So, किस लिए help करना होता है? So I said, whenever you've needed help in life, have you received it or not? He said, yes. I said, तो इसीलिए करना होता है, because we never know when somebody will help us then, when we need help. So somehow, at some level, it is the adrishta phala, you are being kind. At some level, that kindness will get returned. When and how, you don't know, and where from. So one is transactional, immediate, and one is something that is accrued to you and will be made available, but you can't, it is not visible right now.
At a very personal level, I still feel, I don't know, Swamiji, if right now this fits into the time frame, what we are discussing, but I still feel that this is a very worldly kind of carrot and stick, if that's a very crude way to say it. But otherwise, being humans, we would empirically prefer to do good and help if we are brought to that. But maybe society as a mass, on a mass scale, may not be expected to do all that. So then this is linked to a future reward, maybe, which you'll get later. And this way also,
future punishment. It need
yeah,
not
that's what I'm saying. This
reward.
also explains that so many things which we feel as that, why are we being penalized? Why am I poor? Why am I crippled? So that explains that in the past you have done something, maybe.
Prarabdh.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yes. Further.
Sir.
Basically, what Swamiji says is, because of that, if Arjuna retreats from the battle, he will end up doing something else which is going to incur sin, and that is going to incur sin because it will be against dharma. Fighting in the battle is what is dharma. And then the next verse, he says, if you run away from this battle or do not fight, then people are going to, are going to speak, ridicule you and humiliate you and speak of your infamy. And for one who is honored, obviously anybody who has once been placed on a pedestal is never going to like not being there. So Bhutani, fellow beings, will talk. All kinds of stories will come. They will put Arjuna to disrepute, and people will continue to say this way, and subsequent generations will also continue to say this, that it was also because it's Arjuna who is himself such a big hero, it will attract front page news. Ill fame is not loss of fame, because loss of fame is not that bad. But for someone who has had lots of fame and respect and honor, to suddenly be humiliated will become worse than death for one who has been held very high in society.
First he says, tataswadharman kirtincha hitva papam avapsasi. Atha, so if you imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi. Atha chettu, atha chetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi. Tata swadharman kirtincha hitva. There are, if you don't do, then swadharmam and kirti.
Both will go.
Arjuna had a lot of kirti. What is the story given for the kirti?
Lord Mahadev had given
Anybody? Kirti ki story pa nahi hai. Neha, did you read Bhagavad Gita home study? Neha.
No.
So in the group, are you people reading what is being posted? Testing. So you have to read what is being posted, the reading material. So then only you will be there for the discussion. Na? Rolika, kya story hai? Shambhavi, did you study?
Well,
The
I've
material.
studied that before, but not for today. But now I'm not in the text
You were
anymore.
busy this week, yes.
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Okay, Shobha Jaishankar writes, this time did not read. So,
Swamiji, should I?
so we are posting very less
Arjuna
material.
Arjuna fought with the hunter, and he knew that that hunter is
Shiva.
someone who is very powerful, who's not a normal person. Still, but the Shiva in that form incited him to fight, so he fought. And that way Shiva gave him some blessing and some kind of weapon to fight with him.
Pashupatastra was given. Isn't it?
Pashupatastra, yes.
Ashupati.
Yes.
Pashupatastra was given. So he had just very valiantly fought Lord Shiva as a hunter. So a boar was killed, and then Shiva came in the form of a hunter and said, "This is my hunt,
I know.
not yours." And then there was a lot of, fight, and valiantly he fought, and Shiva became happy, and he prized him with a Pashupatastra. So that is the Kirti. And all that Swadharma, leaving your dharma, which is your Kshatriya dharma. So Swadharmam word, one has to understand from the standpoint of Varna. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, one standpoint is that. Another is, what you are supposed to do at a given point of time. That is also to be done, what is to be done and what is not to be done. The conscience that through which you take a decision. Yes, go ahead. I'm just adding to what I thought was missed. And then we can go to Akirtin Chapi Bhutani Katayishyanti Devayam. Not only you will lose the kirti what you have gained, but you will have ill fame also. People will speak ill of you. Nobody will say that you have gone out of compassion or sympathy. They will say you have run away from the battle. Even Duryodhana will add to this narrative because he would not like people to think that Arjuna has withdrawn from because of compassion or sympathy. And this Sambhavitasya cha akirtihi maranadati richati. Even it is worse than this kirti, this ill fame is worse than death for a Kshatriya like him, who had so much of fame. For a soldier to run away from the battle, that will not be this much, as much it is for a very known person, a hero figure. Yes, go ahead. Anybody wants to say anything on this? I'm just adding up the points. Yes, Sharda, what are you saying?
Nothing. I guess this verse 34 is where Krishna tries to tell Arjuna that you will suffer ill fame and that is worse than death. But at many times later through the Gita, he speaks of equanimity and the fact that you should not get affected by honor, dishonor, happiness, sorrow. I mean, everything, you should remain sthita prajna. And then now he says that if you have loss of fame and if people speak ill of you, it's worse than death. I just wanted to attach a link it because I have a personal story which is similar to this. So I just want to know, is it because here Arjuna is going to be knowingly doing something which is going to create ill fame? Yes, it's not like someone being, not doing something and yet being put into ill fame.
So Sthita Pragya does not mean what is he supposed to do if does not do. That is not the point there. The point is after doing your work, what you are supposed to do, then you have to remain towards the result also equanimous.
By not doing your work if you sit quiet.
Yeah.
So equanimity and Sthita Prajna will be in terms of a Jnani, At this point in time, Arjuna is not a Jnani. He's fighting a war. So it's a different case scenario.
Pick up a question. Yeah, from that also you can think both Jnani and Ajnani standpoint, both ways you can think. Huh?
Because till you are not Jnani, you will get affected by ill fame and loss of honor. Exactly. But once you reach that state of
you shouldn't get affected.
Yeah, evolution, you will not get affected.
Anybody wants to say anything on this? This point, particular point. Anu?
I think what Rajiv ji said is probably the right thing because he's talking to Arjuna as if he is not yet a Jnani. That is one. And also two is because he is, I don't know.
Even from the standpoint of a Jnani also, if what's from the society standpoint, as a person, they will be speaking.
No, because loss of fame being worse than death for one who was held in high esteem by society.
It should also be it should also be seen in terms of Swadharma also, from a Varna point of view only, because Kshatriya is there to maintain structural stability of society and to dispense justice. So if you don't do that from a standpoint of a society, yes, it will become you dishonor and infamy. From a Varna, from the point of view of responsibility, which are there because of you being in particular Varna. So Kshatriya has to do his duty. That if he doesn't do it, then it's a dishonor. It's just like a doctor refusing to go to the COVID ward and saying that I'm scared of my life and I'll not work. It'll definitely bring him at least social infamy. Yeah, he didn't do his duty at the time and place when he was supposed to do it. He has been trained to do it at this for this only, and he betrayed his call for duty. So the infamy will be there.
Right. What else?
If I may add, Sharda, the point you raised is very pertinent, and as Swamiji elaborated it, Dr. Rajiv is also bringing us to the same, that once we take action, then being attached to a certain outcome of the action will not be Sthit Pragya. Like Sthit Pragya will be that whatever is the outcome, labha labho jaya jayo, I'll remain Sthit Pragya. But if action is not being taken according to the dharma, according to the expected behavior, then it is this case. So therein, I think we can differentiate. That's what I believe that way. Once action is taken, then the result we have to be unattached to. Whatever is the result, whether desired or undesired.
And Swamiji, after having said all this in verse 38, Shri Krishna again tells him to fight this war without any attachment, without any pleasure, or without any feeling of
Labha labho jaya.
labh, hani, or pleasure or pain, just treating it as the same. That will be the best way to perform an action for anyone, not being attached to the fruits of action, and not feeling any emotion thereafter. If you die, you die. If you win, you get the sovereignty of the world. So both ways, it's a win-win only.
Dr. Rajiv,
this is to fight the battle.
That's what, no, even this point, Dr. Rajiv, I had raised earlier, that in 37 and 38, in 37, he's giving him an attraction, a reward, that whether you fight and win or whether you perish as a martyr, you will be benefiting in both cases. In one you will be ruling the earth, and the other way, otherwise you will be in heaven. Okay. But in the very next verse, he says, apna kaam labh, hani, sukh, dukh se pare hat kar karo. Apna dharma. So in both the verses, he's just trying to, I think, encompass and circumvent all kind of possibilities in his mind.
Actually, it's in response to verse 6, wherein Arjuna said that he'll get a great sin, killing his kinsmen and teachers. So this is in response to that. See, these all verses are in response to what he said in chapter 1 and chapter 2, refusing to fight a war. So Krishna is answering all those questions that he raised in chapter 1 and chapter 2 and in the beginning of chapter 2.
Yes, sir. And I actually, I personally look at these things that maybe in our lives, we also behave like this. So yes, at some time, the attraction of Swarg or the attraction of being a ruler of this world, being successful, is a given valid attraction. At some point of time, we have to make ourselves understand that jo bhi parinam hoga, humko karna hai ye kaam. So it's kind of through Arjun, he's bringing us to our own situations.
Amulyaji, we all start with the intention of getting material fame and yes, recognition. But as we progress in our careers, these things matter not. And we start thinking this in terms of Swadharma only.
Yeah, Dr. Saab, what you said, the fact that it is a response to Arjuna's own apprehensions brought out in chapter 1, and B, it is also Krishna trying to address Arjuna before the Gyan, when he's still with all his doubts, because only that kind of a person will get attracted or not attracted by these reasonings.
Right.
But then why should you show even giving him a carrot of you will reach heaven,
That's
or
it.
you will get a
See, I
these
would
also
say
are not required
differently.
for a jnani.
No, for differently. Even Jnani acts in the world according to the dharma spontaneously. Dharma remains. So dharma remains to
Spontaneously. But the
operate.
jnani doesn't have to be told that if you don't do this, this is the
No,
danda you will
that
get.
is why
Or if you do
spontaneously he
this,
operates, and dharma he will follow. So therefore, here Arjuna is giving up his dharma. Whereas a Jnani will follow the dharma
that's why he's
spontaneously.
acting like an ajnani, which Dr.
Yeah.
Saab was saying.
So the point is the dharma, whether it is a Jnani or a Jnani, has to be followed spontaneously. Because it does not mean that Jnani will overlook. He might take a decision. He will definitely live according to dharma only. But for him, it is not that he is bound to follow any norms. But at the same time, he is supposed to, because how will you live in the world? What is the norm? Basis dharma only.
The worldly order needs to be upheld.
Yes.
And that is the
order has to be.
That is the Vyapak Dharma. So within that, the individual Dharma needs to be followed in order to uphold the society and the world, the human.
Swami, as you said, no, the Jnani has no conflicts about dharma and dharma. He knows what dharma is and always acts as per the dharma. Only an Jnani has a conflict between
Only ajnani will have these
So, Dr. Rajiv, that would be the Vedantic simplification. That if you look at life like that, then your inner voice will keep telling you, your conscience will keep telling you what is there. Then all these definitions of being a Kshatriya or being all that, they will, I think, melt away.
Yeah, but then I think all the points that Arjuna raises in chapter 1 are all the doubts of an ajnani.
Of a worldly person.
Yeah, of any ajnani.
And then the worldly order needs to be upheld.
So it's only after he reaches chapter 11 and all that 10 and 11 and all that he eventually dawns upon him that.
Right.
And then, of course, by the end, he's.
Then you don't need to
ajnani.
be kind of those, the support wheels of right and wrong are not required. Then you can balance your cycle and your life on your own and keep deciding. Right now, he needs to be told what is right and wrong.
But is it a fact, Swamiji, that the Pandavas went to hell after all this?
Fact. I love the word fact.
I mean, the common thing is that the Pandavas all went to hell eventually. So why? I mean, if you want the Dharma Yuddha.
So there are so many punyas and so many papas.
And Duryodhana went to heaven. That's what I mean.
Because he died in the war.
Is that a school of thought, Sharda, or is that, as you rightly asked, is that a fact in our scriptures?
It is written somewhere because I remember traveling to this Mana village, which is supposed to be the place where the Pandavas eventually gave up their bodies. And one by one, these Pandavas fell dead. First, Draupadi, of course. She also, poor thing, goes to hell. But she at least was full of vengeance.
Maybe they were not. Maybe they were not.
Or maybe because she was a woman, she was not supposed to go anywhere but hell. But after her, all the Pandavas, and I think eventually only Yudhishthira and the dog go all the way up, and then probably Yudhishthira is the only one who is given the entry into heaven.
I would love to hear from.
It's because Krishna says that if you die in this war, you'll go to heaven. They are also fighting the Sodharma war. But with a different standpoint. Duryodhana is also fighting a war only, but with a lot of raga, dvesha, and attachment, and out of greed for the kingdom. But since he is fighting a war, and Krishna says that if you fight a war, you'll go to heaven. And the Pandavas survive. And Pandavas survive, and they get a lot of Drishtaphalas as well as the Drishtaphalas. And they have to buy the Drishtaphalas that they get, Punya and Papa. And that Hisab is the reason that they go to hell for the time being, temporarily only. And then they go to heaven.
And of course, Duryodhana, again, not only does he have this kingdom, he's also taken it illegitimately. He doesn't have any legitimate claim to the kingdom. So there
But
is
we have to create
he's a
scenarios for
usurper.
people to do war for someone, no? So we created this concept that if you die in a war,
Right.
it's not, no, it's not a just or unjust war. If you die in a war, you go to heaven. So
But
you may get
that
72
that
huras,
is true
please, or
even
you
of
may
today.
enjoy somrasas.
That
This
is true even of today. Any
Yeah.
Sainik, I mean,
Good.
for example, this guy who did Ye Dil Mange More, I was actually being silly to have gone and jumped into gone ahead and bombed those places. He got bombed rightly, but we consider him a great Vikram Batra. We consider him a great martyr because we feel that anybody who dies in the cause of the nation is great.
And
But
similar would be true for Indian soldiers as well as Pakistani soldiers. So
yeah,
it would be same on both sides of the battle, and that's here I agree with Dr. Rajiv that we have to create scenarios so that people are ready to perform these kind of acts.
Because violence and war is an innate nature of the humans. No, they are animals after all from a social standpoint.
absolutely.
Sir,
And they are expansionists. They are territorial. So as to
Animals
maintain
very close.
expansionism and territoriality, someone has to fight a war. So that's the best way to motivate people to fight a war. You go
Right.
to heaven.
Dr. Rajiv, but then you would know animal behavior better than me. We don't find animals fighting wars and battles. They do protect territories. They are territorial in nature, but not like human beings. So I think we have gone beyond animals in animal instincts, I think. And then we need to justify it on the basis of so many things, then dharma and all that. We kind of glorify issues. Swamiji, over to you, sir.
No, it's okay. A good discussion.
We
Yes,
were at verse
then-
34. We can go to verse 35.
No, I would, the question which you had asked is intriguing, definitely. I would love to hear something from Swamiji on that.
What?
Is this a prakshipta thing that Pandavas went to hell and then Duryodhana went to heaven, or is it a universally acclaimed thing?
Not, see, the whole point Vyasa through Mahabharata is trying to make is some actions are so prominent that the result can be in very unusual ways. The Duryodhana's action, that so much it determined whatever he followed, dharma, his own thinking, that gave him the Swarga. And for Pandavas also, that action was so prominent that they went to Naraka. To me, this comes to my mind. Anybody has something in their mind? What do you think, Rajiv?
So, besides the major events, it also indicates that your personal ethical code also matters. So whatever you have done in your personal life, the kind of anguish, anger, enmity, or jealousy you harbored, that also creates a karma, and that will fructify in terms of you getting the punishment in hell. So the two case scenarios: one is your day-to-day ethical code of life, or personal qualities that you have, and secondly, that great big event of a war in which you die and you get Swarga. Otherwise, you will be held accountable for all and everything that you have done in your life.
Yes, that's it, I think.
Yeah, and the papas are not always the action that you do, because it also also includes manas karma also, vacha karma, manas karma, and physical karma also. So whatever you thought, whatever you dreamt, whatever you wished bad to anyone, that also will fructify in terms of a papa only. That will be given as a punishment to hell.
And including inaction also.
Right.
Yes, inaction also. Akarma.
Akar.
So we'll go to the further verses.
Sir.
Bhayad ganat uparatam mamsante tvam maharataha. Maharataha mamsante. The great warriors will consider that you have run away out of fear. Yeshan chattam bahumata bhutva yasasi lagavam. And they will really think very lagu. Lagu means mean. That what is the translation given, Sharda, here in this line?
Small.
For Laghu.
There is like in the Gita Hamsa, there is lagavam, and it's like lightness. Lightness, fall in esteem.
Lightness.
Take you lightly, yes.
Yes, and you fall in esteem.
Right.
Right.
Or what happened?
Swamiji,
Connected.
Swamiji suddenly, I think he had an internet connection problem. There he is.
Yes.
वैसे भी
Okay,
उनको
fine.
आने जाने की आदत है हमारे साथ
Swagatam.
कभी आके जाते हैं कभी जाके आते हैं
Swamiji, we couldn't get your last.
My connection had gone.
Hmm.
So whatever
So-
you were speaking,
So
we could not
this
get.
verse, so this verse I was saying, Nindantastava samartyam tato, isse dukkhatar, what will be there? How? It's like sorrowful. Avachya vadamsya bahum. People will be speaking which is not to be spoken about you. And Nindantastava samartyam. They will do ninda of your capacity and capability. Samartyam. So you people come out with this whole two verses, 25, 36. Today I want to listen to all of you. I said to Sharda already. Rajiv.
So, Swamiji, this begins with Arjuna saying that people will think that he has forfeited this war for out of compassion and love for his teachers, and people will consider that he's a very compassionate person, having not fought the war and given away his part of the kingdom, and he harbors this idea that it will be good for him not to fight a war. In the beginning of the chapter, in the chapter 1, he says so. So Krishna clarifies this. No, you don't think that you'll get. People will think that you are very compassionate, that you have not fought a war of dharma. First is that you forfeit your swadharma, and secondly, it'll bring you definitely ill fame. They are not going to think the way that you are thinking, that you are a very compassionate person. And secondly, he had said that if he kills his teachers and the people he revers, he'll get sin. He said that also is busted in these two verses. That people will talk ill of you. They'll say that you ran away from the war. It was the just war, and you were scared of fighting fighting the great warriors. And though they will also say, oh no, he forfeited the war out of fear, and he was afraid to fight this war. So that will bring you ill fame, dishonor, and will be talking bad about you, and this retreat will not be considered good. And since you are a man of a high honor, it'll hurt you. Everyone will be talking, and will not be for this generation. For generations to come, people will talk that here was Arjuna. He froze at the last moment when he had to fight a war, and he forfeited all his swadharma and honor and ran away from out of fear. This is how they'll be talking about you.
Anybody wants? Amulya, you want to add something?
It'll be very painful for anyone who has lived a life of honor, who has been held in high esteem in society, who is a crown prince and who is supposed to fight the war for dharma. So it's very painful for you to listen to all the comments of people. And as you said that Duryodhana will never let people think that he was very compassionate and that's why he left the war. He will always propagate this idea that you were very fearful. You were never a well-dressed man in the first place. You had no honor. I know, and that's why you didn't appear. And whatever the stories that have been spun about your kirti and your fights, they'll come to nothing. They'll say no. There will be a narrative that he was a weak-minded, weak-kneed, and dishonorable man who didn't fight for his for himself, for his brothers, or for dharma, or and didn't refuse to fight a just war.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Rajiv. I believe what we were discussing in the earlier shlokas, this definitely links to Arjuna's initial concerns or beliefs, that where he is justifying not fighting. And herein Krishna, Vyasthu Krishna, brings him to the point that there is something more painful, emotionally painful to live with, or infamy to face, as it is dukh taram. Isse zyada dukh kya hoga? What will be more painful than this, to face that infamy, that you did not live up to what was expected of you because of your swadharma, or because of what was expected you as Arjun, or as being a Kshatriya. So again and again, I think Krishna is bringing him to this, that whatever you believe, we have something more painful than that, in case you choose to behave like that. So first I think he is trying to deter him from thinking, from escaping, like thinking of escaping. And then he, in the next two verses, he'll bring him on to that you fight, and whatever is the outcome of the fight, you are a winner either way. It's a win-win situation. But first he's deterring him.
Yeah. So there's just a small anecdote. When I used to play chess, there was a book called Amateur versus the Master. So the difference between amateur and master is amateur thinks about his own logic and his own positions only, and master thinks about the other side also. He sees from both standpoints. So Arjuna was seeing his only standpoint, like amateur seeing his only pawn and positions of his horse and knight and camel, not looking from the other side. And as a master, Krishna tells him, no, there's the other story, other side of the story also. It's not what you think is true, that there's other angle also.
Yes, and I also think it's like really important to see those verses, those shlokas in the context, because now just in those particular shlokas, okay, like he's considering like the outcome. Like it said, okay, if you're not battling on the field, like you're getting low in esteem. And then later on, we have to see like it's not about the direct outcome, so it needs to be put into perspective. So, because like if we are seeing this out of the context, of course he has to play a role in society and like everyone, and society is more important than the individual. Yes, but society, particularly in some wars, can be wrong. So like this idea about like getting low in esteem by not being on the battlefield needs to be verified and clarified more, because it could also be wrong being on the war, and it's not about like just keeping up to the expectations of society or like to the expectations of the own emotional ideas, but like then later on he has to step back like from all the fruits coming out of the battle, so to speak.
Right.
Correct. Good. So next verse, therefore in this verse he says, Tasmat uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. Tasmat is a very powerful tasmat after all these arguments. Swadharmam abhichaveksha, beginning from that in these 7 verses. He says, Uttishta, get up. Physically get up also, psychologically also get up. Wake up, get up. Uttishta jagrat. So, Uttishta, the Kathopanishad says, Uttishta jagrat. prapya varan nibodat. Uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodat. Kathopanishad vakya. So very funny thing is Uttishtata Jagrata. First Uttishta, then Jagrata. Generally, first you will say first wake up, and then. But here it is
Normally
ulta.
resolve and then get up.
Hmm.
Because either way, you're not a loser.
Yeah, you people speak on this verse and the next, and then we end up the session. Which Solveig has to, Solveig
37 we
Shambhavi.
have already discussed.
Already discussed, yes. Okay.
We go to
okay.
38 now. Sukha dukkha same krutva
Hmm.
labha labho jaya jayo. Tato
Tato
yuddha.
yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam. So this is a seed sown for karma yoga.
Yes.
You are mute, Shambhavi. So if you
Yes.
are, yes. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. So now you were talking about Papa. If you do like this is the seed of Karma Yoga. And whatever, if you are equanimous, same kritva, equanimous towards this dvandvatmaka world. What is the dvandva? Sukha dukkha, labha alabha, jaya ajaya, victory or defeat.
Mana apmana.
Mana apamana.
That's later.
Whatever.
Hmm.
So all that, once you are sama, and therefore, what is to be yuddhaya krita nishchaya? First you say that yuddhaya is promoting yuddha and all. No, it is what is to be done according to dharma. That is the point here, right? Not that Bhagavan is instigating for, because they tried every skill to stop the war. They asked for 5 rooms, a house with 5 rooms even, which Duryodhana was not wanting. What else? Main points I've said. Anybody wants to add?
Swami, you said, of course, everything already, but it's like, okay, you need what needs to be done, like beyond your ragas and klishas. It's just like what needs to be done, and it's not up to your individual wishes or likes and dislikes. You just do what needs to be done. And yes, that's karma yoga.
So this is the seed.
Seed of karma yoga, as you said now, that you don't have to bother about the fruits of action. You just have to bother about your swadharma. Here he tells Arjuna that you bother about your swadharma and not be bothered about raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. So Duryodhana is fighting for raga.
Mute Amulya. Sharda, mute Amulya.
Is he not getting muted?
Yeah.
He got disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, Rajiv.
Yeah, so Swamiji, as you pointed out, that this is the beginning of karma yoga, the giving up of fruits of action. That Krishna tells Arjuna that you don't bother about the outcome of the war, you bother about swadharma, and drop your likes and dislikes. Like Duryodhana is fighting because of raga and dvesha. Raga, attachment he has with the kingdom, and dvesha, he has enmity or envy or jealousy for Pandavas. So you drop all your raga dveshas and fight the just war. By doing this, you'll not incur any papa. You'll get punya only. There'll be nothing bad against you. And maintain that equanimity. Don't neither work for heaven nor for the sovereignty that you earn after defeating the enemy. Just get up and fight this war, the war which is just and as per dharma and swadharma.
Okay. Most important point in this verse, you see, once you have a vyavasayatmika buddhi, which is going to come later, what is it that seed of karma yoga is? That if you are not really hankering after the result, because the self image, the concept of you, whatever you have about yourself, that result of the action is not going to change that concept. The karma phala will not, whatever you, as I used to say, wanting person will ever remain wanting. Whatever may be the result, that will not give you that kind of a change in the concept of an image what you are carrying about yourself. So because ultimately one has to know, one has to be working upon knowing oneself. So I plus anything or I minus anything, the I, which is a wanting person, the I, which is incomplete, that incompleteness is not fulfilled. Therefore, the chitta shuddhi happens once you are equanimous, because result is not what it is, the duty, the dharma, what is to be done if you do. Raga dvesha is not important. Raga dvesha has to be performed, like fulfill the likes and dislikes, fine, but dharma is more important. Duryodhana was fighting the war for raga, and Arjuna here, you see, he is doing what is to be done. So samatvam is yoga. I have just said in short, whatever you anything you want to say.
Can I ask a question or like put some remark on it? Can we also take the verse 38? No, I cannot. Can we also take the shloka 38 as sort of like Vedanta and Samkhya can go together, because very often nowadays
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
Swamiji?
Yeah, my connection is little poor. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. So may I ask, like, or making a comment or something, can we also take shloka 38 of the second chapter, like as a statement, or like as a proof or whatsoever, like, or as an encouragement to not to have decide if we go either for Samkhya or for Vedanta, so it can both go together? Because very often nowadays, like people, for instance, like if they're coming from the, let's say, Hatha Yoga tradition, then it's just a Samkhya in the mind. And then there are the pure Vedantins. And sometimes people fight over that. But isn't it like this first, like this shloka 38 also like an invitation or whatsoever, like to bring the both together, because even they are not separated. Like
here, this Sankhya is not Kapil Sankhya. It's not a school of thought Sankhya. We have already in our classes discussed this.
Yes, I know. But still.
So this is Vedanta only. Sankhya is
but
not.
Yeah. Yeah, but still.
Yeah. No, then it finishes the question now, because Sankhya is Vedanta only here.
Yes, but also in a practical way.
What? How?
Okay, you get up, you stand up, you get up and you fight, because you are the nature, like your true nature, like your Swarupa of the Atman is like the unchangeable whatsoever. But still in this very moment, you perform the role, not being attached, and you're acting like which is accordingly. But yet, like, yes, like the seeds of karma. Yeah.
So the karma, this seed for karma yoga is, there is a karta bhukta in karma yoga. So jiva ishvara bheda is there. You are a jiva and you are working according to dharma. You are doing an action, what is need to be done according to dharma, and that is what is being said here. So, and in Vedanta, it is the knowledge of the self. There is no
Yes.
jiva ishvara Bheda.
Yes.
So there are two different standpoints because in Sankhya Buddhi, that Bheda is not there. In Karma Yoga Buddhi, Bheda is there. Jiva is offering his action towards the Ishvara. Ishvararpa Buddhi, Samatva Buddhi. These two Buddhis constitute yoga. So from that standpoint, you are a doer, you are an enjoyer. And therefore you are working at Ishvararpa Buddhya, Prasada Buddhya, Karma Karomi. Okay, this is the seed. Therefore, this understanding is from that standpoint.
Swamiji, I think I also tend to agree that this whole concept of equanimity or samatva is in a way trying to link your Sankhya understanding, where you are talking of the Atman, with the karma of your current role as your jiva. So if there is in this verse 38 some attempt to link both, to eventually say that whether you look at it as an Atma or you look at it as a Jiva, as long as you maintain Samatva, you are going to go in the same direction.
Yeah.
We'll think about it in the next class. Because I see it differently. There's a point in it, but then see, Sankhya is totally about the nature of the self.
जी हम लोग कल यही बात कर रहे थे ना कि कर्म योग के थ्रू समत्व आता है जिससे ज्ञान होता है फिर
that is what
वो that समत्व
speak in English
And it's fine. You can speak in Hindi because it keeps up the thinking, learning faculty, and something comes back. So please.
Not at this point.
Hindi boliye, mushkil nahi.
मुश्किल नहीं. अनु
जी स्वामी जी, नहीं ठीक है, मतलब
हाँ बोलो.
Actually I'm fine. वो standpoint कहाँ से देख रहे हैं?
See, therefore you have to understand the Gita structure also. How is Gita trying to put forth this whole, even very next verse he divides, which we are going to take in the Tesha be te avihita sankhya buddhi yoge tu imam shunu. Up to now I have told you the sankhya buddhi. Now yoga buddhi you listen to. Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyase. United with this buddhi, yoga buddhi, which I am going to unfold now onwards from the verse 40. Karma bandham prahasyasi, the bondage which karma gives, of doership, enjoyership, that you are going to give up. That bondage giving up only happens through jnanam. Karma gives you antakarana shuddhi. Through that shuddhantakarana, you have the knowledge that I am not the doer enjoyer. Then only you get away from the karma bandhan. It's not a
जब तक वो doership का भाव है, तब तक there is a prescribed code of conduct जिसके हिसाब से चलते जाओ और आगे जाते जाते डेटा पॉइंट्स इकट्ठे होते जाते हैं, वो अंदर सिंक करने लगता है कि जो हो रहा था वो हो रहा था और कैसे हो रहा था, and that is when at some point that doership dissolves.
Yeah. So this is why I am saying that this differentiation must be understood properly to understand Sankhya and Yoga. Right? So all is one in the sense you can say ultimately you live like that. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labha jaya jaya. That is what Shambhavi was making the point.
वो कितना भी कह लो, spontaneous reaction तो अंदर deep within जो समझ है वहीं से आएगी. पिछली बार जब हम बात कर रहे थे इंटेलेक्चुअल, और आपने कहा था सब अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंटेलेक्चुअली होती है, बस उसमें मैं यही सोच रही थी कि वो अनुभूति जब होने लग जाती है तो वो फिर खाली समझ की बात नहीं रह जाती है, वो व्यवहार में स्पॉन्टेनियसली राइट, वहीं से नॉन एक्शन, एक्शन जो भी बोल लो उसको, it just happens.
At this point is the whole Vedantic discussion in many granthas elaborate. So in the nitty-gritty of it, once you go of this point, you have to enter into those realms.
Yeah.
So it's okay, fine. Okay. So now I give, something from Shambhavi I would like to listen. Little bit of
What do you want to
5
listen?
minutes.
What do you want to listen to, Swamiji?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5
Yeah, her
minutes? Oh
introduction.
my goodness.
She is good in yoga. She teaches yoga in Germany. She lives alone and then she teaches she's a good interpreter, very good to say. Immediately she used to pick up other interpreters, like they're finding the words and all. She was so quick, and then everybody likes her whole interpretation immediately. So I had a good person, so always I want, whenever I'm going to Germany, she should be there.
Yes, please
And
come
then-
back. It's always a pleasure having you here. And that was so nice because I always had to remind myself when Swamiji was here, it was his first time out of India, because I always kept forgetting. And then sometimes, like I was wondering, but like just very randomly, and I was like, oh, it's just his first time in Germany. Wow, okay. So yes, whenever, please come back. But Swamiji, I'm not an interpreter. I'm not doing anything. I'm happy, like if this Jiva can be a sort of an instrument for what it is doing, and then I'm happy.
That's good.
And I'm happy to join you. And I'm also like very happy, and I would like, well, like I hope I will be able to join often. But for me, it's also so nice if sometimes you guys speak in Hindi, because like if the subject is clear to me, and like then it comes back. So that's for me like a very a real pleasure and a treasure also, that wise, like language wise. So thank you so much, Anu, for having spoken in Hindi also. Yes.
You
That
speak
much
a few words in Hindi?
नहीं हम
Shambhavi.
शुरू में हम हिंदी में ही
No,
बोलते
I forgot everything, Swamiji. Hindi, I don't know. I spoke Hindi for the last time in 2019, I think.
Oh.
So, and then afterwards, a little bit more of the Bengali and the Nepali was in the forefront, but still also like now for almost 2 years, it's gone. So I'm happy. Like, because
Good,
there is a
good.
lot, the seed is planted and I can understand you, but like my active
हम
skills
लोग बात करते
for the
रहेंगे
time
आपसे
being
हिंदी
are
में।
gone.
हम लोग आपसे हिंदी में बात करते रहेंगे,
आपको याद दिलाते रहेंगे
हाँ,
हिंदी,
तो
आप
आपको
चिंता
भूलने
ना
नहीं
करें।
देंगे।
संस्कृत का अध्ययन जर्मनी में ज्यादा हो रहा है हमारे भारत से ज्यादा, इसीलिए जर्मनी has always been, I think the Germans, from starting with Max Muller, I presume, have always been very understanding and have accepted Sanskrit for its scientific nature and the fact that, and there are a lot of similarities, there's no doubt.
Yeah, yes, of course there is, but like, and we can appreciate, let's say, the Max Muller roots, like in our scientific language, philosophical interest or whatsoever. But then like at one point, I think we stopped, like Germany has stopped. And like now, because like when I was, and still at the universities, like it's just a language of translation, and you never chant the slokas, for instance, or you never do it actively and pronounce anything. And that's such a pity. And like, if you go to the UK or to the US and Canada, like they pick it up a little bit more as an active language. And I think that's like much more enjoyment. And then like your Sanskrit can unfold better. So yes.
Beautiful.
We are lazy. हम लोग ऐसा नहीं है कि हम अप्रिशिएट नहीं करते हैं, मैं अपने लिए हम तो मेहनत नहीं करना चाहते, हम अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, एडमायर करते हैं, हमें बड़ी खुशी होती है कि जर्मन्स भी सीख रहे हैं, सब लोग सीख रहे हैं, हमसे ज्यादा मेहनत नहीं होती है।
हम सीखते थे, हमारी जो अभी जो शिक्षक, जो अभी क्या कहते हैं इसको, एजुकेशन सिस्टम को, उसने हमें बिल्कुल निकम्मा बना दिया है।
बिल्कुल एकदम।
लेकिन अगर हम अपनी पुरानी जो हमारी प्राचीन काल से जो हमारी अध्ययन करने की जो गुरुकुलों के द्वारा जो हम लोग सीखते थे, उस तरह का जब हम education, that education was true education because we truly understood, and if we were doing art, we would be fully into it. If we were sculptors, we were
Yeah.
fully into it. If we were singing, we were fully into it. Whatever you do, but here we have a mishmash of everything. So by the time a child is 17, you want him to be or him or her to be a champion of everything. 5 languages, 4 sports, computers, and something else. So at the end of it, the kid is all confused and
Burnt out in childhood itself.
totally burnt out. And then you have these board examinations where you expect him to score a 99% in every subject, from history to mathematics to algebra to whatever. And obviously, you're creating a total bunch of mediocres. That's what has happened to our country.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But that's what
we are
happens everywhere.
getting out of it.
It's what happens everywhere. But still, I think like in India, okay, you can not easy, but more easy than in other countries. You can you can join back, and because like it's like the spirituality is more vibrant still, and
We have
Yes.
that legacy with us. You're right.
yes,
We just have to go back to it once we do that.
Yes.
And I think we are gradually beginning to.
yes.
Okay, on this note, we end the session, or anybody wants to say anything?
क्लोज करिए
Right.
चैंटिंग से एकदम से एनवायरनमेंट बहुत जल्दी बदलता है इन सेशंस में.
ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्युर्मा अमृतङ्गमय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. Stop the recording.
सबको